Hello. So welcome to our next chapter, and we have reached to our end of our audit. So we are doing your peer review and quality review. Now, for those who are watching for May attempt, please make sure you definitely do this chapter because there are some amendments in this chapter. Now, this comes for approximately 2.7 an average. In the past three attempts, it has come for 4 to 5 marks in every attempt. So make sure you do this chapter very well. Okay. Now, this is approximately in your ICI study module. This is approximately 45 pages, which I have summarized in about 5 pages. So first of all, before we start this chapter, this chapter is divided into two parts. That is, first part is your peer review and second part is your quality review. So there are no mnemonics for this chapter because it is a very process-oriented chapter. So mnemonics do not really help. So starting with peer review, you have to first understand certain definitions before we start the chapter. That is, what exactly is a peer review? So peer review is an examination and review of the systems and procedures to determine that they have been put in place by the practice unit for ensuring quality of assurance services. So what exactly happens in peer review when you are a CA firm and you are being a CA firm, you audit your client, you audit the auditee. So to check whether you are auditing, whether you have proper systems in place, whether you yourself as a CA firm are following the necessary procedures or not, you will be subject to peer review to check that whether whatever work you are doing is that in the correct manner or not. So therefore, examination and review of the systems and procedures to determine that they have been put in place by the practice unit. Practice unit is you yourself, the person who does the audit, the partnership firm who is doing the audit, that is called the practice unit. So whether they have put procedures in place for ensuring the quality of assurance services. So whatever services you are providing, whatever assurance services you are providing, to ensure that they are of higher utmost quality, therefore you are subject to peer review. Reviewer. A reviewer is a member duly approved and empaneled by the board on fulfilling the qualifications prescribed for reviewer. That means the person who checks your practice unit over here. The practice unit, on the practice unit, we are doing a review, and the person who does the review is called the reviewer. Practice unit is a firm of CA or member in practice. That means those who provide your assurance services, those are your practice units. And this new unit, this is your amendment for May 2023, is a new unit. Definition of new unit has been added. This we will be using later in the chapter. Therefore, I want you to study this definition right now. So a new unit is a firm whose date of establishment is less than 12 months. Date of establishment, that means it has been established in the last 12 months. So whose date of establishment is less than 12 months immediately preceding the date of application of your peer review, that is your PR. So if your date of establishment from your date of application of PR is less than 12 months, then in such a case you will be considered as a new unit. Okay. Now, what are assurance engagement? So, a practitioner expresses a conclusion designed to enhance the degree of confidence of intended user. That is your assurance engagement. That is a conclusion, expressing a conclusion to enhance the degree of confidence of the intended user. Does not include, there are some things which are not included in your assurance engagement. Management consultancy engagements, representation before various authorities, engagements to prepare tax returns, engagements for the compilation of your financial statements, or testifying as an expert witness. So, expert witness, compilation, tax returns before authorities, and your management consultancy engagement. These are not included in your assurance engagements. Now, what are your objectives of your peer review? What are your objectives of peer review? Primary objective of peer review is not to find out deficiencies. They don't do peer review so that they can find out deficiencies. The main aim of the peer review is to improve the quality of service that you render. That means whatever service you render, because you are a CA, so to ensure that you maintain the quality, to ensure that you do not bring disrepute to the CA fraternity, that even after being a CA you are providing such poor service. So they just want to improve the quality of service. Therefore, the peer review is done. So first and foremost, most important is this is not done to find out deficiencies, but to improve the quality of services. Now, what are the objectives? That is comply with professional, technical, and your ethical standard. That is your PTE, professional, technical, ethical. Okay, so comply with professional, technical, and ethical standards, including other regulatory requirements. And your second objective is have proper system. There should be a proper system with whom? With the practice unit. With the practice unit, including documentation to demonstrate the quality of assurance service. You have to show them that, boss, these documents also I've maintained for the work I've done, for the conclusions I've reached. You should have a proper system of maintaining documentation. Next is, as we did over here, professional, technical, and ethical standards. So what are your professional, technical, and ethical standards? So your accounting standards, your AS issued by ICI for entities other than companies. Then you have AS under section 133 of the Companies Act by CG based on your ICI plus your NFRA. Then you have your Ind AS under section 33, same. Okay, so AS under section 133, Ind AS also under section 133. Next, you have standards, including your engagement and quality control standards, statements, guidance notes, guidelines, notifications. Okay, all of these are included. Next, framework for preparation of your financial statement, and last is your provisions of relevant statutes as covered in the scope. So whichever relevant statutes, whichever relevant laws are in your scope which has been defined, all of provisions of that are included in your professional, technical, and ethical standards. Okay, next is your significance of peer review. That is, what is the importance, why should we do peer review? So the work that you perform can be easily subjected to peer review. It can easily be checked by another person. It is necessary for auditor to improve technique. So improve technique and seek stamp of approval about his competence. That means this is basically a certificate that yes, you are competent enough to do audits. If the work of auditor is questioned, if later at some point of time it is questioned that, boss, did you not check this? So if the work of auditor is questioned, his defense would be that the work has happened as per the audit practices which have been reviewed. He can tell them that, boss, this has already gone under peer review. They did not find any problem. Therefore, even while I was auditing, all of these seemed normal. In the hindsight, now that you look into it, it might seem reasonable that this should have been audited, but I have already been subjected to peer review. Now, next is your scope of peer review. What is the scope of peer review? So once your practice unit is selected for review, its assurance engagement, that means all of its clients to whom it provides assurance engagement. We have already done the definition of assurance engagements. Assurance engagement in PR, maximum 3 years shall be subject to review. That means from today's date, from 3 years till 3 years prior, all the assurance engagement that are provided in this period can be subjected to peer review. The review shall cover, what all shall the review cover? Compliance with professional, technical, and ethical standards. They will also check my quality of reporting. Okay, so I'll do this differently. Therefore, compliance to PT. Second is your quality of reporting. That means what is the quality of the reports that I make? Training program for staff. How well trained is my staff, that is my audit team is. Next, compliance to guidelines by council with respect to fees charged, number of audits, etc. Next is compliance to guidelines by council with respect to articles, assistance, stipend, etc. And last is your self-evaluation under AQM, that is your audit quality maturity model. Okay, so that is your self-evaluation under audit quality maturity model. So in the scope, there are these 6 points. So first was your compliance with professional, technical, ethical standards. Second, if you remember, close your eyes, we did that was your quality, that is quality of reporting. Then third that we did was your training program for your staff. Then on the right side, we did two similar points. That was your compliance to guidelines, compliance to guidelines. One was with respect to your article assistant, and your second was respect to the fees charge and your number of audits. And last is your AQM, that is self evaluation under your audit quality maturity model. Okay. Now applicability, please make remember that there is an amendment over here for May 2023. So for May 23 students and November 23 students, this is very important. So applicability has been changed. Peer review may be conducted by a firm because it is mandatory, voluntary, or in any special cases. A prerequisite to hold valid peer review certificate by the practice unit for undertaking audit of entities under phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so this applicability has been divided into 4 phases. So if you want to provide any service, it is mandatory for you to hold your peer review certificate. So your phase 1 is from 1st April 2022. Now if you notice, this date has already passed when you are watching this video. So phase 1 is 1st April 2022. So the PU which undertakes, the practice unit which undertakes statutory audit of entity whose equity or debt is security is listed in or outside India. So either your equity or your debt security, they are listed either in or outside India. So only and only if you are a practice unit, if you are a practice unit which undertakes statutory audit, if you are a practice unit who undertakes statutory audit of an entity whose securities are listed, whose securities, with securities, equity securities and your debt securities, either equity or debt is listed in or outside India. In such a case, peer review will be applicable for you in the phase 1 from 1st April 2022. So if you notice the dates, it is all 1st April 2022, 2023, 2024 and 2025. So your phase 2 is applicable from 1st April 2023. A practice unit which undertakes statutory audit of unlisted public company. Unlisted public company. Over here, what did we do? We did listed company. Now we are doing statutory audit of your unlisted public company. Now your unlisted public company has certain limits. That is paid up share capital equal to or greater than paid up share capital equal to or greater than rupees 500 crores, annual turnover equal to or greater than 1000 crores, or your outstanding loan, debenture or deposits equal to or greater than rupees 500 crores. So what you have to remember, your paid up share capital and your outstanding loan, debenture, deposits both have a limit of 500 crore and your annual turnover has a limit of 1000 crores, either equal to or greater than, and any of these if satisfied. It is not an and condition, it is a or condition. That means any of these if satisfied, it will be peer review will be applicable to them. Next is a practice unit rendering attestation service having 5 or more partners. So if you have 5 or more partners, peer review will be mandatory applicable for you for from 1st April 2023. Now this date also has already passed. Okay, so now if you see for phase 3, so over here we did 5 partners. In phase 3 there is 4 partners, and in phase 4 there are 3 partners. So if you want to remember, how do you remember? Your phase 2 has 5 partners, total is 7, 2 plus 5. Then your phase 3 has 4 partners again, 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. And your phase 4 has 3 or more partners, that is 4 plus 3 is also equal to 7. So if in during the exam you get confused, all you have to do is you have to remember the number 7. So phase number minus 7 is the number of partners. Okay. Next is under phase 3, a practice unit undertaking statutory audit of entity who has raised funds from public banks or financial institutions. Public banks or financial institutions greater than 50 crores in the review period. If it is greater than 50 crores, you will come under phase 3, which is from 1st April 2024. A practice unit undertaking statutory audit of any body corporate, including trust, in which the which are public interest entities. So if it is a public interest entities, then in such a case you will be under phase 3, that is from 1st April 2024, or a PU rendering attestation services having 4 or more partners. Phase 5 talks about practice unit undertaking audit of branches of public sector units. So public sector banks, if you are auditing the branches of the public sector banks, then you will come under phase 4, applicable from 1st April and 2025. Or PU rendering attestation service having 3 or more partners. So we started with 5 partners. Then we came to 4 partners, and now we are coming to 3 partners. So for them, your peer review will be made mandatory from 1st April and 2025. Any PU not selected for review may suo moto, that means by themselves, may suo moto to the board for conducting peer review. That means they can provide application that boss, please conduct our peer review. Board to act within 30 days from date of receipt of application. Your auditee, that is the client, that is the practice unit, whoever the practice unit audits is the auditee. Client may request board to conduct peer review of its auditor, that is the practice unit. Board to act again within 30 days. So either the either the practice unit themselves can give an application to the board, or even my client, even the auditee can give an application that boss please conduct the peer review. Next, periodicity of peer review. Periodicity of peer review. If you are a level 1 entity, it should be done once in 4 years. If you are a level 2 entity, it should be done once in if you're a level 1 entity, it should be done once in 3 years, and if you're a level 2 entity, it should be done once in 4 years. We will understand what level 1 entity, what level 2 entity means. Don't worry about that. Next is reviewer can take help of only one qualified assistant who should be a CA and who should not attract disqualification either under section 8 or 21 of the CA Act 1949. So you can take when the reviewer reviews the practice unit, he can take help of only one qualified assistant. This he will have to intimate to the board plus the practice unit the name of the qualified assistant. Okay, now your peer review board. Peer review board are certain points that you have to consider. First is it is constituted by the council. Has to be constituted by the council, your peer review board. There will be minimum 6 and maximum 12 members appointed by the council, of whom at least, when they say at least, that means if you have any figure in decimals, you will have to upper round it off. So at least 50% shall be from amongst the members of the council. That means majority of the members shall be members of the council. Majority members of the peer review board shall be members of the council. Minimum 6 and maximum 12. Council to appoint chairman and VC from among the members, which may be rotated every year. So your chairman and your VC shall be both who shall be liable to rotate. Term of two-thirds of the members shall be for 3 years. That means two-thirds of the total members, either 6 or 12 or whatever number between them. Term of two-thirds members shall be only for a period of 3 years. Members of the disciplinary board of the ICI shall not be member of the board. They shall not be member of the board. So if you are a member of the disciplinary committee or the disciplinary board of ICI, then you cannot be member of the peer review board. Provisions related to time, place, quorum of meeting of the peer review board, as well as procedures for transaction of business, they have not been defined, but they shall be governed by the CA regulation 1988. So you don't have to remember any time, quorum, etc. So you are lucky. Okay. Now, what is the stepwise approach of the reviewer? That means when a reviewer wants to review a practice unit in such a case, what will be the approach? So first of all, you have to gain an understanding of the engagement letter. You sign an engagement. When you are auditing a client, you first sign an engagement letter. So first of all, the reviewer first has to understand the engagement letter. Then he has to select assurance engagement to review based on the replies given in questionnaire and size of client. So the reviewer will give a questionnaire. The reviewer will give a questionnaire to the practicing unit so that he gets a more better, clearer understanding. The answers of the questionnaire will usually be in the format of a yes, no, or not applicable. So once he receives the response of the questionnaire and he understands the size of the clients, he will be able to select the assurance engagement. That means he cannot audit all assurance engagements, right? He will select few assurance engagements that he wants to review. Next is examine the policies and procedures for acceptance of audit by practice unit. That means what procedures, what policies and procedures does the practice unit follow before they accept a new client. Then next is compliance test and substantive test. So compliance test is whether the policies and procedures have been communicated to the staff or not. That means whether the practice unit has communicated whatever policies and procedures they have to the staff. And your substantive test is working papers in support the findings. So whether whatever your findings are, do you have working paper? Do you have concrete evidence? Do you have those working papers to satisfy provide justification for whatever findings you have reached on to? Next is determine any significant matters that rose during the audit and how they were resolved and documented. So any significant matter that rose during the audit, you have to check how they were resolved and documented. Next, determine adequate audit evidence to support conclusion. This is your stepwise approach of your review. Small short in flowchart format I've given you so that you can easily remember this. Now next is your peer review process. What you have to understand is there has been an amendment. This peer review process has changed to a vast scope. Okay, so basically your peer review process, earlier also there were 4 steps, now also there are 4 steps, but the wordings have changed. So first of all, procedure for initiating a peer review. This is your peer review process. So first is procedure for initiating peer review. That is your practice unit. Your practice unit to fill application come questionnaire in form 1. So this can either be CO moto or when the board initiates it. So in form 1, they have to fill your application come questionnaire. Either that is CO moto, either when you do it by yourself or when this has been initiated by the board. Okay, now 3 reviewers will be recommended. 3 reviewers will be recommended by the board to practice unit within 3 days. 3 reviewers will be. Now this practice unit, the practice unit can select any one reviewer. That means what you have to understand that the practice unit has some choice. They have some choice as to from whom they want to get the review done. So they will select one of the 3 reviewers and intimate to the board within 1 day. Board to intimate reviewer and ask to submit declaration of confidentiality. Once the reviewer has been selected, board will intimate the reviewer and they will ask them to submit a declaration of confidentiality. So we have already done form 1. This confidentiality will be submitted in your form 2 and seek consent within 2 days. Your practice unit to provide copy of form 1 to the reviewer within 2 days, because your form 1, in form 1 you had also filled the questionnaire. As I told you, it is the application, it is an application come questionnaire. So a lot of information the reviewer will also find from that form. Therefore, you have to submit this form 1 to the reviewer within 2 days. Okay, this is your first step has been completed. Second is what is the procedure to be followed by your peer reviewer. What procedure does the peer review has to follow? PR to furnish confidentiality declaration to the PU. Okay, of course, because we will be providing with them with some documents. So they have to ensure that all of this information, all of this data that we are providing, they have to keep confidentiality. Next, intimate proposed visit date, because this reviewer will also come to your office. So there will be a proposed visit date and sample selected. He will select some sample. So he will be telling you so that you can keep the documents ready beforehand. Any additional information to be provided by PU within 1 day, that is 1 day of request. Reviewer within 2 days of receiving information shall select assurance service engagements to be reviewed and intimate to the board and PU in form number 5. So we have done form number 1, we have done form number 2, and now we are doing form number 5. So reviewer within 2 days of receiving the information, all of the information that he needed, he will select which assurance engagements he wants to review and he will intimate to both the board and to PU in form number 5. Reviewer shall give at least, that means minimum. Reviewer shall give at least 2 days to PU to ready the document, because whatever samples he has selected, he has to give at least minimum 2 days. Reviewer and practice unit to ensure that process has been completed within 20 days. That means this entire process shall not last very long, because first of all, your reviewer also investing his time and your practice unit is also investing their time. Okay, so therefore this has to be maximum completed within 20 days, and this 20 days instead of 20 days, this is 7 days in case of peer review of a new unit. Remember, we did the new unit, that is where if your date of establishment is within 12 months from your date of application, you will be considered as a new unit. So in case of a new unit, you do not have a lot of establishments, you do not have a lot of assurance engagement. So instead of 20 days, it has to be completed within 7 days. Now next step is your step 3, that is your execution. What does execution say? Your PR, that is your peer review visit, shall be less than or equal to 6 days. That means maximum 6 days. The visit can be maximum 6 days or 1 day in case of a new unit, because in case of a new unit, the total time only given to them is 7 days. So out of 7 days, only 1 day maximum can be your physical visit. Then there is your compliance review, that is some certain compliance review will be done of general controls, that is staff recruitment, office administration, office outside consultation, maintenance of professional skills and standards, and your independence. All of these will be checked. These are your general controls. This is in your step 3, that is your execution. Then C point talks about selection of assurance engagement for review depends upon. That means out of the 100 clients, out of the 100 services, out of the 100 assurance engagement that we have provided, now I will select only a few samples. The reviewer will only select a few samples. Now, on what basis will he select these samples? So that is your standards of quality control prevailing, size and the nature of engagement, because he will also cover big engagements. Next is methodology adopted by PU. That is on what basis the PU accepts assignments. Next is the number of partners involved, branches or locations, because more a number of partners involved mean there is more coordination required, so your quality has to be maintained. And last is your review of records. So compliance approach, and second is your substantive approach. If you remember, we had done this over here. Hmm, just a second. Remember, we had done this compliance test. Okay. Now coming to your fourth part. Fourth part is your reporting. Now reporting, submit peer review report. Now after you've executed everything, you've reviewed everything, of course you will have to provide your report. So submit peer review report within in form 9. So which forms did we do? We did form 1, that is your application cum questionnaire. Then we did your form 2, that is your confidentiality. Then we did your form 5. Now we are doing your form 9. So submit peer review report with form 9 to the board and practice unit, both of them. This has to be submit the report. If system and procedures are deficient, that means if the reviewer feels that my systems are deficient, that is not proper, communicate the findings to the practice unit in the preliminary report. So there will be one preliminary report and one will be your final report. Your preliminary report will be issued before the final report. Therefore, it is called preliminary report. PU shall within 2 days, that is the practice unit, within 2 days to make its submission. That means to give replies in writing to the reviewer. Because if the reviewer finds deficiency, the PU they shall be given a reasonable opportunity of being heard. So they should be allowed to give their justification. If the submissions that they have given, if that is satisfactory, then an unqualified peer review report along with form 9. Okay, unqualified, because now the replies are satisfactory. So unqualified peer report plus form 9 to the board as well as to the practice unit, it has to be submitted to both of them. However, if your response is not satisfactory, if the response is not satisfactory, you will submit a qualified peer report, plus you will also give reasons and your form 9. So what is same, you will submit a report. Just the difference is over here it is unqualified, over here it is your qualified report. Over here you also have to give reasons as to why you are giving a qualified report, and form 9 is the same. Over here also it is to board and PU, over here also to board and PU. Submit annexures, questionnaire, list of samples, preliminary report along with PR report, dated, signed and complete. All of this also has to be submitted. Board shall order a follow-on review. Board shall order a follow-on review after a period of 1 year in case of modified report. So if there is a modified report, board will do a follow-on after a period of 1 year to check whether whatever discrepancies, whatever deficiency that we had highlighted before, whether they have been corrected or not. This 1 year may be reduced, but not less than 6 months. That means minimum you have to give them a period of 6 months before you do a follow-on order. Next is your peer review certificate. So your peer review certificate is issued in case of an unqualified report only. Only and only if you have been issued an unqualified report, only then will we give you a peer review certificate. Only after peer review confirms fee receipt from PU by him. So only after the peer reviewer confirms that the practice unit has paid him, only then will the certificate be issued. Second is new units. New units, remember the definition we've done. Certificate shall be issued subject to procedures followed by reviewer as per prescribed under clause 8. Your certificate shall be signed by your chairman, your vice chairman, that is your VC, your secretary of board mentioning the validity period. List of practice unit having valid peer review certificate will be updated on ICI website by the PR board secretary. That means of all the entities which all entities have a valid peer review certificate. Validity of certificate is 3 years. That means after every 3 years, you will again have to get your peer review done. For new unit, it will be decided by the board. That means it will most probably be less than 3 years. Extension of validity will be in form 8. We have now done forms 1, 2, 5, 9 and 8. If qualified report, that means if a qualified report has been submitted, your PRB secretary, that is your peer review board secretary, to inform to the practice unit that peer review certificate cannot be issued along with reasons, along with the follow-on date. The follow-on date that I told you, that means after 1 year. So all these three have to be given. First of all, you have to give a reason that certificate cannot be issued. Then you have to give your reasons as to why it cannot be issued. And third is your follow-on date. That means when we will be checking again. Next is your eligibility of reviewer. That means the person who reviews the practice unit. So basically there are four eligibility. A peer reviewer shall first of all be a member in practice with more than or equal to. So it shall be a member in practice with more than or equal to 7 years of assurance practice expertise. Okay, so this is he should be in practice. If he has moved from industry to practice, if he has moved from industry to practice, then in such a case he shall have an industry experience of more than or equal to 10 years and is currently in practice for a period of more than 3 years. C, have requisite training and cleared the requisite test to be a peer reviewer. Then your second is a member on being appointed as a reviewer shall be required to furnish. He has to furnish two things. First is declaration as prescribed by the board at the time of empanelment. And second is declaration of confidentiality. So he has to submit two declarations. One is the declaration that he has to give to the board. Second is a declaration with regards to your confidentiality plus consent of appointment as a PR. Then a member shall not be eligible for being appointed as a reviewer of a PU if any disciplinary action proceeding is pending, he has been found guilty of professional or other misconduct, is convicted in or outside India for offensing involve moral turpitude and imprisonment. He or his partner have any obligation or conflict of interest in the practice unit. That means because this will be familiarity threat. Next, he has undergone training, articleship training under any of the partner of the PU. So if he has gone under training, this will be familiarity threat. Therefore, he will not be eligible. And lastly, shall not accept any professional assignment from the practice unit plus minus 2 years. That means neither 2 years in advance, neither 2 years in the neither 2 years before from the date of such appointment. Obligations of practice unit. Next is your obligations of practice unit and obligations of your peer review. So they have to allow access to any document maintained by the PU, provide any further explanation and provide all assistance that the reviewer needs. So first of all, you have to give access to documents. Second is provide additional information, and last is your provide all assistance required. Obligations of the peer reviewer is shall not take any extracts of the PU client file or record because this he can only check, he cannot take. Document all working paper and submit copy if asked by the board within a period of 18 months. Shall complete review and submit report to the board within time. This has been specified as 20 days and 7 days. So 20 is in case of normal and 7 in case of new units. Now coming to your next part, that is your quality review. Your quality review is directed towards evaluation of audit quality and adherence to various statutory requirements. They are designed to identify and address deficiencies. Okay, now you remember in peer review I told you that the main aim is not to find out deficiencies but just to improve the quality. However, here they are designed to identify and address deficiencies. That means the quality review is very different from peer review. Deficiencies related to how the audits are performed by the audit firms under review. So over here in peer review, what we call as your practice unit, when we are doing your quality review, the same is called as audit firm under review. So instead of PU, you have to write AFUR, audit firm under review. Okay, please make sure you do not write practice unit if the question is about quality review. You have to write audit firm under review. It does not include internal audit, tax audit, and your GST audit. So scope and objective is compliance with, of course, PT standards, whether the stat auditor has complied with your relevant laws and regulations, whether the audit firm under review has implemented system of quality control with respect to applicable quality control standards. So is there a system of quality control or not? And last is no material misstatements of assets and liabilities at the reporting date. There should be no material misstatements in your assets and liabilities. Important areas as per the QR report. What are the important areas? So whether the AFUR has implemented policies and procedures on all quality control elements, whether the engagement quality control reviewer reviews at appropriate time the planning, etc. So whether there should also be an engagement quality control reviewer, whether he has checked at appropriate time or all the planning, strategy, execution, etc., etc. Whether the audit firm under review assigned quality control responsibility to person with appropriate experience and sufficient authority. To the audit firm under review, whether they have assigned these responsibilities to a person who has appropriate experience and authority. Next, annual confirmation with respect to independence taken from person required, whether there has been annual confirmation has been received or not. And last is, so this point is with regards to independence. Last is audit firm under review perform independence confirmation before accepting engagement. So have they checked their independence before they accept an engagement? These are your important areas as per the quality review report. Next is your, as we had the peer review board, now we also have the quality review board. So it is set up by your CD, that is your central government. Composition is chairperson plus 5 members plus 5 members. Why have I written like this? Because chairperson and 5 members will be nominated by CG, while more 5 members will be nominated by the council. Your QRB assesses, that is your quality review board assesses quality of compliance with AS and disclosure requirements, and second is quality of audit and reporting by the practitioner. So if you check, there is a vast difference between your peer review and your quality review, because over here they are actually checking whether they are trying to find out deficiencies. So quality of audit and reporting by the practitioner. Now what are the functions of the quality review board? Make recommendations to council with respect to quality of service, review quality of service provided, and guide members to improve quality. So first is recommendation, second is review the quality, and third is guide members with regards to quality. Okay, and this is your powers of QRP. So evaluate and review the quality of work. Next is lay down the procedure for evaluation of criteria, that is the benchmark that we are setting. Next is call for information from the institute, council, or its committee members, clients, or members. They have the power to ask for information. Invite experts to provide technical advice on matters which the board may feel relevant. Make recommendations to the council to guide members to improve their professional competence and qualifications, quality of work, service offered, and adherence to various statutory and other regulatory requirements. Next is selection of audit firm. That is, how do you select at which audit firm require your quality review? So criteria will be based on entities audited. So these are your different criteria on which it will be based, and second is criteria based on audit firm. So it will either be based on entities audited or based on audit firm, that is volume of work, nature of work, random basis. Okay, so these points you can read. Next is your quality review cycle. So quality review cycle should be once in 3 years. That means every once in 3 years should you get your quality review done. If you have more than or equal to 20 partners, this 3 years will be 4 years if it is 10 partners, and once in 5 years if it is less than 10 partners. So 0 to 9 partners, 0 to 9 partners once in 5 years, 10 to 19 partners once in 4 years, and if you have more than 20 or more than 20 partners, then it is once in 3 years. Up to 3 audit engagements of an AFUR may be selected by the board. That means if I'm providing 20 different assurance engagements, if I'm providing 20 different audit engagements, maximum only 3 will be subjected to my quality review. Not more than 1 audit engagement per partner. That means if a partner is auditing 7 different, only 1 can be selected from that particular partner. In the absence of adverse findings in the past review, that means if previously I had noted that this partner had some adverse findings, then I am allowed to select more than 1. But if there is no such adverse findings, I can select only maximum 1. In case of adverse findings in past reviews, may increase the frequency or select more than 3 engagement. That is only and only if there have been adverse findings. So now our next topic is your impanelment of technical reviewer. So empanelment of technical reviewer. So in this case, as in case of peer review, we would call the person as the reviewer. Over here, the same person is called as technical reviewer. So the technical reviewer reviews the quality of audit services. The board constitutes the quality review group, that is your QRG. So the board makes the quality review group to examine the final reports of your TR, that is your technical reviewer. So over here, the board has made another body, that is your quality review group, which examines the report that the technical reviewer makes. The technical reviewer may seek the help of industry expert. That means he can use help of industry experts. Now, the minimum criteria to get empaneled as a technical reviewer is there should be minimum 15 years of post qualification experience. That means after you qualify, there should be 15 years of experience as the CA. And it is an and condition, currently practicing accounts and audit. So you should still be in touch with those topics. Next is should be signing partner for at least 3 central statutory audit assignments. You should be a signing partner for at least, that means minimum, 3 central statutory audit assignments for your bank, public limited company, government company, or a private company whose turnover is greater than or equal to 10 crores, greater than or equal to 50 crores in the last 10 financial years. Out of 3, at least one should be other than a private company. So these 3 that we are talking about, apart from in these 3, there should be at least one that is other than private company. It is not allowed that all 3 are only private companies. Next, should not be a member of the QRB, that is the Quality Review Board. You should not be a member of the QRB or the ICI Central Council or branch level management committee. Next, board may reject the TR application without giving any reason. Without proper reason, the board will still be allowed to reject a technical reviewer application. Next, empanelment as a technical reviewer shall be for ongoing block period of 3 years plus annual declaration from each empaneled technical reviewer. So annually they have to give the declaration that yes, I still want to be empaneled, and next year it should be for a block of 3 years. Next is composition of review team. Composition of review team headed by a technical reviewer plus maximum 5 assistants. Maximum you will be allowed 5 assistants. Firm of CA is not allowed. Okay, that means it has to be an individual. It cannot be a firm. Next is what are the qualifications? What are the qualifications of a technical reviewer? So he should not have disciplinary proceedings under the CA Act 1949 or any penal action. Other law in last 3 financial years. So there should be no penalty action in any other law in the last 3 previous years, and there should be no disciplinary proceedings in the CA Act 1949. Next, his firm or partners of that firm, that means neither him nor his firm nor the partners of that firm should have been the statutory auditor of the company. That means the company whose technical reviewer going to be, you should not be the statutory auditor of that same company. Or they should have rendered any services to the entity or associated with the AFUR. AFUR is your audit firm under review. So you should not be associated with the audit firm under review during the last 3 previous years. Okay. Next, he should comply with eligibility conditions for appointment as an auditor of a company under section 141(3). That means whatever conditions are there for being appointed as an auditor under section 141(3), he should satisfy all of these to be eligible to be a technical reviewer. And last is he does not belong to the city or region of the head office of the AFU. That means you cannot even belong to the same city. If you have been residing in Mumbai and if the head office of the audit firm under review is also in Mumbai, you will straight away not be allowed to review this particular audit firm. You are allowed to do others, but not for this one because their head office is in the same city. Okay. Next is your independence of assistant, that is your qualified assistant. So as over here I told you that 5 assistants are allowed. So now we are going to study what are the independence. How do you check the independence of these assistants? First is he should be a CA. Does not attract any disqualification under the CA Act 1949. Should sign statement of confidentiality. Of course, he has to maintain confidentiality. Should have no direct interface with the AFUR or the board. That means he should not be directly related with no direct interface with the audit firm under review or the quality review board. Should be working with them for at least 1 year. Working with whom? Working with the technical reviewer for at least 1 year. not associated with the AFUR or the concerned entity in the last 3 financial years. Okay. Next, not himself be empaneled as a technical reviewer with your QRP. That means if that person himself is empaneled as a TR, he cannot be an assistant. Okay. In such a case, he will not be an assist. He will not be allowed to be assistant. Not to be a member of the QRB, ICA Central Regional Council or Branch Level Management Committee. So if you see, this condition was there over above also when we had studied. Not be a member of QRB, ICA Council, Branch Level Management Committee. Okay, now what are the guidelines? What are the guidelines for technical review? Himself plus assistant shall make visit to the AFUR, that is a physical visit to the audit firm under review. Follow technical guide on conducting of quality review. Don't make copies. Do not make copies of the AFUR documents for a working paper. You are not allowed to make copies. Give detailed comments in report plus your appendices, that is your annexures. Segregate observations between material and non-material. That means whatever observations you give, you have to segregate at both. These are material, these are important observations, and these are comparatively non-material observations. Build a review process to be able to review documentation maintained by AFUR, that is your audit firm under review. So have a review process to be able to review the documentation, that is what documentation they are making. And last is specifically include a paragraph in the review report on adequacy of fraud reporting by the statutory auditor. That means in the report that you make, in the report that the technical reviewer makes, he shall have he shall have a separate paragraph to check the adequacy of fraud reporting by their statutory auditor. Okay. Now next is your last page. Last page of this chapter is stages involved in conducting of a quality review assignments. So there are basically 13 stages. First is your QRB selects audit firm and the audit file for review and identifies TR to conduct your QR. I know a lot of shortcuts. So your quality review board selects the audit firm. Okay, whose audit firm, whose review we are going to do, and the audit file for review, that means which client we are going to audit, and identifies the TR, that is technical reviewer, from the empanelment to conduct the quality review. Your quality review board sends offer letter of engagement to the TR. Your quality review board sends the offer letter of engagement to the technical reviewer. Of course, you will have to ask them also that are you okay with this. Then once they get the offer letter, your TR, your technical reviewer, conveys his acceptance by sending necessary declaration for meeting eligibility conditions and furnishing statement of confidentiality by himself and assistant. That means me and my assistants, all of them will sign their confidentiality documents. QRB intimates AFUR, your quality review boards intimates your audit firm under review that boss, we are doing your quality review. QRB also sends a copy of this intimation letter to the technical reviewer and provides them with contact details so that both of them can get in touch with each other and start the quality review. Next is TR sends the specified QR questionnaire. Your technical reviewer sends the specified quality review questionnaire. If you remember in peer review also there was a questionnaire. So the questionnaire is sent to the AFUR for filling up and also calls for any additional information. Next, your TR technical reviewer starts their off-site review by making proper planning for the review. So this is off-site, that means they have not come to the site yet. So off-site review by making proper planning for the review and then on-site visiting the office of the AFUR by fixing the date as per mutual consent. The both of them will decide. It will not be a surprise visit. Both of them will decide the date. On completion of the on-site review, TR to send preliminary report. Same in peer review. Over there also we sent a preliminary report to the AFUR as well as the QRB. That means both to the audit firm under review and the quality review board both. AFUR to submit representations on the report. TR to immediately send the reply of the AFUR to the QB. That means your audit firm under review will first give the response to the technical reviewer and this technical reviewer will forward this to the quality review board. Technical reviewer submit final report along with copy of annual report to the QRB on his individual letterhead, signed and dated. Also send the final copy to the AFUR. So you have to send it to the quality board, quality review board and the audit firm under review both. Requesting them to send the final reply. So once you've already received replies in the in the preliminary report that you sent, and now you are asking responses for the final report. QRB within 7 days of receipt of the final report. So the QRB has to reply within 7 days of the final report. Audit firm under review should also send a copy of their final reply to the technical reviewer. Audit firm under review. So this reply has to be sent to the QRB. Okay, so this reply that the audit firm under review gives, they has to be sent to the QRB within 7 days, and this also has to be sent to the technical reviewer. So they will send them a copy. On receipt of final reply from AFUR, your technical reviewer will submit to the QRB within 7 days a summary of his findings plus final reply of the AFUR in his final comments. Your QRG, remember over here it is QRG. Till now we were doing QRB, 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 that is your quality review board. Now, as I had told you, they also constitute a quality review group to consider report of TR plus responses of AFUR and make recommendations to your QRB. So your QRG is the body that actually checks the reports. So they will consider the reports plus they will consider what responses the AFUR gives, and they will make recommendations to the QRB that what should be done. Next, QRB to consider report and recommendations of QRG and decide further course of action. I am telling you once again, QRB is your quality review board, QRG is your quality review group. If you remember your QRG, we told you the 5 plus 5 members, okay, that is your QRG. Next is your reporting and other procedures. So may qualify report, the technical reviewer may qualify report due to quality control system design deficiency. That means the system design is only deficient, not that the quality controls are not working properly, but the design is only deficiency in the design. Next is non-compliance with quality controls policy and procedure. Non-compliance with the quality control policies and procedures. Non-compliance with technical standards. Non-compliance with the relevant laws and regulations. Okay, so there are 3 non-compliance, and one is design deficiency of your quality control system. Next is what are the basic elements of report. So basic elements of report, first is related to audit quality of companies, and second is related to the quality control framework adopted by your AFUR. So there are certain points. I hope pause the video and read these points. You need not learn these points, but have a great understanding. Okay, next is your types of reports to be issued. What are the types of reports to be issued? So before deciding, consider the following. So before deciding what type of report to be issued, do I have to give a qualification or not? Some points need to be considered. First is policies and procedures of the audit firm under review. Do they ensure quality control? Whether the audit firm under review has complied with your policies and procedures. Next, independence of AFUR is maintained or not. Audit firm under review has adequate training staff or not. I mean, the people working with them, have they trained them adequately or not? Skill of assistance considered before assigning assignments. Does the audit firm under review consider that is this assistant even capable of providing the services that I need? Process of attestation is monitored. Work performed by each assistant is monitored and whether guidance has been provided or not. The audit firm under review established policies and procedures to record audit plan, nature, timing, and extent of audit procedures. Whether the audit firm under review has maintained the audit documentation. Of course, very, very important point. Your audit documentation is most important. Whether the audit firm under review verifies compliance to your laws and regulations, and your internal controls of audit firm under review contribute towards maintenance of quality reporting. That means the internal control, they should contribute towards your quality reporting. That means because of effective internal control, it should ensure that your reporting is also of high quality. Okay. Okay. I hope you've read these points already, all of these. Nothing complicated, very, very easy. And last part of this chapter is actions that might be taken by your quality review board. That means on basis of your recommendations of the quality review group, what actions they might take. So make recommendations to ICI for referring case to the director of discipline of the institute. That means if you are complaining, that you will be complaining it to the director. Issue advisory or guidance to AFUR for improvement in quality of service. So this you are providing them guidance that boss, your quality has been found to be substandard. How do you make this quality better? If review out of reference received from regulatory body, that means if any regulatory body, for example, if your RBI or if any other regulatory body, for example, your IRDAI, if any regulatory body told that boss, please do their quality review. In such a case, inform them of the result of the review. So of course, since they told you to do the quality review, you will also have to tell them the result. Intimate the audit firm under review as to findings of the report plus actions initiated. You will tell them the findings and what actions you have initiated. inform details of non-compliance to regulatory body which is relevant. So if there are any non-compliance to your laws and regulations, so we will be telling them. Consider matter complete and inform AFUR. If everything is fine, okay, then you consider it complete and inform the AFUR that your process has been completed. Your QRG's report, that is your last part of our chapter, just last part, that is your quality review group's report on quality of audit by auditor for PSU should be furnished to your CAG, that is your Comptroller and Auditor General. Your CAG's views plus recommendations of the QRG shall be put before the board, because since it is a PSU, of course, CAG will be involved, and both of these, his views plus recommendations of the QRG should be put before the board. Board then decide whether recommendations of QRG to be accepted or not. If board decides against the recommendations of the QRG, that means the QRG, that is the quality review group, is recommending something else, but your board takes a different stance. In such a case, they shall record the reasons for doing so as to why they are taking a different stance. And with this, we are done with our chapter of peer review and quality review.